Okay, thanks everyone for coming. I'm Mike and I work for a company called 42. Our biggest client by a long way is Lego, and as I said, we build their casual games. The games on their website and the casual games on their smart devices. So 42 started 14 years ago and we did anything digital. Anything anyone will pay us money to do. We were doing borough councils' websites, we were doing e-commerce systems for security cameras and screensavers, you name it. And then we came across a website for Funky Friends. So Funky Friends is a brand that you have on pencil cases, Christmas cards and things like this. And we built them a website and we put some flash games on there. So this was in 2000 and these flash games proved really, really popular to the extent people were stealing their content and putting it on their own website, which at the time was bandwidth theft. Now we think of that as viral marketing. So with the success of that website, we moved on to Tunatic. So this is ITV 7:30 till 9:30 weekend slot around 4 years ago. And unsurprisingly, guess what we did? We built a website full of games. And because we did that, it was tremendously successful. And this was our first go at integrating TV to game content and website content. So you'd go on there, and the presenter would go, click on the glass on the TV show. So when you went back to the website that day and clicked on the glass, you unlocked cheat mode and funny mode on the website games. So it was two-way interaction before anyone invented clever ways of saying what that's called. Which led us on to BBC Worldwide. So by this stage we had mastered the art of virally seeding flash games, and it wasn't complicated. All you did was Google submit game, and you'd have thousands of websites where you could freely upload your flash game. And then if it was popular on those sites, other website designers would take that content and put it on their own. So you could go global in a matter of minutes. So I don't know if Raven ever did release DVDs in Japan, but I can guarantee that about 10 million Japanese kids played that game. And then we got lucky. So I did a presentation like this for Lima, and I was trying to prove to the audience that it doesn't matter what you sell, I can turn it into a game and make it fun. So I asked someone in the audience to stand up. Sorry, I've just got a special guest. Do you want to step on it? There's a seat there. So sorry, we got lucky. So I asked someone to stand up, pick their chair up and said, right, I can make chairs cool. And everyone went, what? So I went through pretty much exactly what we did on the Tunatic website. I said, where's your rivalry in this room that we can leverage? And they said, men versus women. Fantastic. So we'll do a game in the office where men can compete against women. And we're going to win a boardroom. So your office can now win a boardroom table, which means I'm now okay to play games at work because you're playing for the company. And if you upgraded your chair, e.g. sent off some kind of imaginary call to action on buying a chair, pricing a chair, you'd get a faster chair. Therefore you could score more points in the game. So then I pulled two wheelie chairs from around the back of the audience, got a lady and a gentleman on the wheelie chairs, and they raced round the exhibition. Happy days. One of these people works for Lego. Next week I'm in Billund, and we're starting looking at designing them flash games for their website. Lego's website's always had the most incredible content on, so we already had the traffic there. And we started. So Aqua Raiders was our first game for Lego, which brought us on to Lego City. And at about this point, I think we finally realised and got in a picture what our company does. And it's that. So we're trying to get an emotional response out of them, the audience. We're trying to make them jump in the air and cheer, punch the table in frustration, run around and tell all their friends about this content. And this was also our biggest lesson in how children play games. So this was an incredibly simple game where you clicked on arrows and drove different vehicles around a town. And it had 20 levels. And that child turned around to me and said, "This is the best game ever, I love it, I've very nearly completed it." In fact, he hadn't got past level 1. He was just happy finding his own way of playing the game. So that's lesson 1. When you're working with children, don't assume they'll play the game the way you expect. Let them find their own fun. So our games were going well, so stupidly we thought we'd try something dangerous. Lego introduced me to Mars Mission, where they've got robots, astronauts and aliens fighting over crystals. In the back of my head was, played this game. Ooh, it's an RTS game. So in 2005, I think, we decided to build essentially Command & Conquer in Flash. And the only reason we got away with this was to say to Lego, look, it doesn't matter if the young players don't get what they're meant to be doing, because they'll find their own fun. They'll click on something, they'll drive it around, and they'll love it. Then the next year above them will see the missions, and they'll play to complete the missions. So what you do is you stack it full of cheats, and therefore everyone can stand the chance of completing the game. And then for the next level above that, you say if you do it without the cheats, you win the super gold medal. So they'll play the game as you imagine the game to be played. So we create games like an onion skin. Every layer is peeled off for different age groups. And then it was like dream come true time. So Star Wars. We finally got to do a Star Wars game. And again, this game is really simple at its base level. It's left, right to turn your starship. It's based on the first computer game ever built. Space to fire, you blow things up. The next level above that, children can take challenge in completing the game. And the level above that can unlock all the superpowers like in Street Fighter. So down, down, up, up, left, right equals super rocket launch. So it's all about the different layers in the game. This game actually helps you complete it as well, because we always want to get people to that point in a game where they've done it, they've won. So if you died, it got easier. If you died again, it got easier again. Until you basically could complete the level with your eyes closed, because we don't want people to get stuck on level 6 of a game like this. We want them to go for as long as possible. So we thought we'd mastered it. We were really happy with ourselves. So Meme Counter tracks, or used to track, your Flash game and then compare it to every other Flash game that used their system. So we were smashing it out of the park. We were making what we thought were the best Flash games ever. Loads of people played them. Our average view time was going skyrocketing for a casual game. Of course, we were completely wrong. What happened next were 2 projects. Lego Friends and Breakout. So for Lego Friends, we looked at the way children were playing games at the beginning of last year, and they didn't play on their browsers anymore. They didn't play on their computers anymore. They picked up an iPad, they picked up an iPhone, they picked up an iPod. So we're about to deliver a Flash game. We know we can do that, but that's not what people want to play. They want to play device games on smart devices. If you watch a TV advert or a cartoon series for Friends and Ninjago, sat in front of you on the table isn't a laptop anymore, it's the family iPad. So that's where we've got to start targeting our games. Scary for us. And then with Breakout, Lego challenged us to create a AAA looking game in a browser. Okay, what's your timeline? 4 months, 5 months. Sorry? And they really wanted to push it. This is why we love Lego. They set us the most ambitious challenges and say, can you actually do this? So again, we had a choice. Do we do it 2D? Do we go 3D? And being honest, there's only one way to go. So now's the hard part. We're a Flash game studio. Flash, Adobe have been absolutely brilliant to us. They've helped us all the way, they've helped us launch games, they've supported us, they've given us software that doesn't come out yet, just so we can make sure their games are great. But their kit didn't do 3D, and it didn't do mobile at this point in time. This is 2 years ago, and when we looked at the risk, it was just too big. So we'd heard of this software package called Unity, and we hadn't opened the box. So we thought, do we give it a go? May, 2D Flash games. Looking forward at December, a 3D game done in software we've not used that's meant to be the most amazing browser game out there for children. Single player. So now we start looking at 3D properly. Before, we'd have taken renders of their models and we'd have created sprite sheets. Now, we've got a low poly, the most stupidly high poly 3D models you've ever seen. They were sending us models of this guy that's 70 meg. We've got to make him a hell of a lot less. This is where we got really, really, really lucky. So one of our staff said, we're going to have to do mocap for this. There's no other way we can do it in the timelines. And another one said, well, what about this website I found called Mixamo? So we looked at Mixamo, and for want of a better word, it's clip art motions. So you can go and grab a person doing a little jig off the internet, plug it straight into Unity, and your man's dancing in about 30 seconds. And it costs virtually nothing. So now overnight, we've got our characters rigged, jumping up and down, doing roly-polies, you name it, whatever we wanted, for about £100. We were looking at buying a £40,000 bit of kit for mocap. That saved our lives. And then we started looking at Unity. So previously, our level designers and our artists are two completely separate sets of people. So your artist creates all the 3D stuff, they take the renders, they give it to the level designer who then splits it up into parallax levels or whatever we're doing, then it goes to the game designers. So if you go into our office now, all of our artists have got Unity as well. So on one screen they've got Maya, and on the next screen they've got Unity. And they change something, you look at how it affects their game, and then they go and play it in the game. They see their model live in there. So overnight, all our 3D artists became proper game designers. And not only does this make them really passionate and excited about the project because they get to see much more of it, their work just goes through the roof. So this is what we made.
To destroy all heroes. Now you can be the hero in an awesome new online game at HeroFactory.com. Select your hero and power up for the missions ahead. Explore strange worlds. Battle the most dangerous villains. And catch them all to become the ultimate hero.
50 MP off Mixamo. 5 seconds work, drag, drop, done. Stuff like that that just revolutionises your game studio. So, we've just run our 2 biggest ever projects, so our turnover is obviously increased. That's about £1 million, and we've been stuck at that for 4 or 5 years. Guess what? We needed to employ a load of new 3D staff and some more game designers. And we also went and got Adrian Smith, executive producer of Tomb Raider 1 to 6, to run our team. So yeah, staff turnover, I think you can see where you're going with that. It's quite scary moving into 3D. And then you get the platforms. So we used to be browser, that was it. Currently we're browser, iOS and Android. For our next range of games, can't say, very excited. We're at that green level there. So we're all of a sudden getting loads more audience, not just the people on lego.com, people who may have never heard of these games before. It's a tremendously exciting way of getting new traffic. And it's not that much harder than what we were doing in the first place, building a Flash game. And I think that says it all. So, despite doing all of this, making all of those changes, hiring a hell of a lot more people, buying more software than you can ever imagine, we also doubled our profits in the same year. Do it. Go 3D. Make the leap. It's terrifying if you're like us and you're looking at it, but if you really work at it, I promise you it's going to help you. Was the game any good? So previously with Crystal Alien Conflict, Mars Mission, we won Best Consumer Goods campaign for New Media Age. We won it again with Hero Factory. What we weren't expecting is to win the whole thing. So the New Media Age Grand Prix, best of all categories, was Hero Factory. It was a 3D game for the first ever time. Normally it's a website or a marketing campaign or some magic SEO. It's a game. Fantastic. And it carried on. So last week we won a Daddy Award for Best Entertainment. On Sunday evening we're up for a BAFTA for Best Independent Production Company. Next week, Paris Game Connection, Best Entertainment Marketing Game. And tonight at the Beamers, Best Game. None of it would have been possible unless we made that jump. That's when we played Ninjago, but we've done that ahead of time. So Ninjago is where we're at today. And now I want to explain where we're going in the future with these things. 2013 is going to be a massive year for us. We can't bury our head in the sand anymore. We can't pretend mobile and smart device and smart TV doesn't exist. We can't pretend children still play games on web browsers. They don't. They do, but they also use smart devices. And there's a number of reasons why smart devices are great. That is at the end of pretty much every TV advert for everything you'll ever see at the moment. Go to our website. Certainly on their packaging for their products. We've now got to convert all of these companies that do this to something like that. I'm not sure we've quite nailed it yet. I do think it's all about the app icon. And I do think you need to say search for somehow, but that, we're working on this at the moment. What the term should be for a modern day marketing campaign, it's nearer that, that's all I'll say. Crikey. That is the biggest resolution we'll get away with on a website, to fit modern web design standards. So when we want to go and place a game on Cartoon Network, I very much even doubt they'll give us that much space. Biggest square's the iPad 3. That's what our games look best at. Crikey. Get your designer and put that in front of him and he'll have a meltdown. So his art has got to work at both. So we've got lots of new challenges to face. And for me, this is the swinger. We make casual games for children. I'm a parent myself. What's it safe for doing? Is it safe for giving my child an app, I know what's on it, there's a button on the screen, or letting them loose on the internet? So to me, for children, apps have a perfectly sane and logical, obvious reason why they're better. So we're not burying our head in the sand, we're proper going for it. So this is a team based in Bournemouth, and what happened when we built Breakout is we got request after request after request from LEGO fans. And our job primarily is to entertain LEGO fans. So we were looking at this massive, great sack of feature requests. We've spent a budget, We've got no time to implement them, we're moving on to the next project. How do we resolve this? LEGO are about entertainment. They're about making sure their games are great. So we need to change our business model, first and foremost. So you know the profit I was talking about earlier? Oops, spent it. So we've invested with LEGO to make the next game, the next casual game. Our goal, first and foremost, is to improve the quality of casual games for LEGO fans. We've done this by really lightly monetising the content. The most you can ever spend in this game is about £2. And so the people who want the free stuff can still get it. And if you want more, there you go, it's also available to you. Which allows us to update, keep the content live, keep it fresh, and just not have timelines on it. When we see what people want, we can now just go, right, fantastic, bang, in it goes. If we get it right, we don't know, we don't mind saying this, we've just secured the future for that team, and we can grow them. LEGO don't know if it's the right way to go. We're experimenting, and this is the best thing about LEGO. They give you the freedom and support to really push boundaries. And for me, it's finally the opportunity I can go back to LEGO and say, thank you. Thank you for trusting in us all this time. Because rather than them paying us to make a game, we're now meeting in the middle. So what are we making? This video you're about to see isn't finished trailer, it's low-res art to figure out what we want to look like when it's done. And there we go, in January we find out if we can change the entire way people market games and all sorts of things like that from a casual game perspective. We've even had to change our company name because we finally admitted that the words multimedia is like from 1990. So, new website, new branding, new everything. For the first time we've got to put a customer face on things instead of a B2C face. Sorry, B2B. So 2 take-homes. Number 1, when you're designing casual games for children especially, that is all that's important. So when you're there and you're adding content, oh, it's got to have multiplayer, it's got to have, oh, it must have this feature. All of that is actually sidetracking you. What you really want to be doing is seeing what you can pull out of your game to make it better. To make it so they can pick up, play it, have fun with it. And then the additional stuff is for the older children, the layered content. But you must start there. And I've got that above my desk because it's the hardest thing to do you can ever imagine. You're there and you think, oh, I've got this amazing way of making this game better. Don't go near it. Keep it simple. Just make it look really good. So I've got some things I'd like your help with. Software people in the house. Educate your customer's customer. So for LEGO, they're up front, they say, yeah, use Unity, use all these new tools, really go for it. It's harder with other companies. It's harder with their websites. For example, with the BBC, we can't use Unity. We can't use 3D Flash. We can't go on smart devices. We really want people like this to be the spirit of Britain and launching things. Many websites are worried about how they put this content and how the players will react. So if you can help us educate people about the possibilities of the future, it's going to be really good. We can get these games out there everywhere. If there's anyone from Autodesk and Scaleform here, if you made Scaleform do websites as well as mobile and desktop, we would love you forever. The big thing about resolutions, our big issue would go overnight. Clearer roadmaps on tools and players. Just let us know when you're updating things so we can prepare our clients. That would be really useful. And a really selfish one. If anyone creates a fantastic way to de-poly Lego bricks, so you've got a cube of Lego bricks and it just takes the outside shape, I would love you forever. Our 3D designers would marry you. Thank you very much. So that's my presentation. Thank you very much for all your attention. This is the bit I hate. Has anyone got any questions?
Can I just ask how big the team was when you got that 5 months to kind of learn?
We were 16 at the time, and we ramped it to 22 the minute we got the contract. So we had people in place to hire, we knew who they were, and the minute Lego said yes, sign. But I think small companies always face this. You know where you need to be to get the next level of project. So you've got to look for where those staff might be. So if someone does jump, you can just go, right, go, bang. So have that plan in place. Because otherwise you can't grow, you can't get to that next thing. So we use a lot of freelancers at first, so we know who's good. And then the minute we get the opportunity, we just go, right, you're great, hired, bang. So it's a great question. It's something every small company, I guess, doesn't matter what you do, has issues with.
Have you left all your Flash production behind now? Or do you still do?
We did a Flash game for the BBC recently. We still do a little bit of it. So we still use Photoshop in all of our work. We still use Flash to design all the screens and things, to see what they'd look like, to rapid prototype all our HUDs and things like this. And then we take it out and it goes into Unity. So we still use Flash every single day, but just not to deploy games, normally.
How do you Scaleform? You mentioned Scaleform there.
This is heading towards the 3D artist question. So, but basically, Scaleform will allow us to just change the structural UX to the appropriate devices. We've had to build our own system to do it. Scaleform does everything we need brilliantly and more, but it doesn't deploy to web browsers. If it did, and I can't imagine we're the only company facing this, it would be happy days. Because otherwise we've got to build our own tools to do this, and we don't really want to. And we haven't looked at Unity 4 stuff yet, so. Any more questions? Thank you so much for all your time. I hope you have a brilliant Christmas, and please download our game in January. Thank you.